I'm going to start the program where I'd rather not start, but I must. I want to say to people in and out of the administration, stop trashing, smearing, bullying the little state of Israel. Stop cozying up to and telling us that the enemy regime in Iran is now more rational, more moderate, and a regime that we can deal with. When just a few months ago they slaughtered 50,000 people, they're still hanging young people today.
Fuck Israel!
I want to start this episode by saying the entire thing will be bullying Israel and derivatives of Israel.
Absolutely.
I got my flag too. It's over there, though. I have my big flag now.
I got the big one. Iran, Iran, Iran. That's right. That's right.
So fun. You're in a good mood. Iran just scored, but it got called back. But it's still 0-all.
Listen, we're gonna crush the Leopoldites. We're gonna crush them. We remember what they did in Congo.
Iran is playing fantastic this whole the tournament. So
listen, they can't even get the number right. He's like, oh, 50,000 killed. Laura Loomer says Larry says 40,000. The other one says 100,000. The one says 80,000. One says it was a Holocaust.
Before we get started, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed. If you're watching on X, give the stream a repost. If you haven't checked out our website, Substack, Telegram, Spotify, merch store, please do. Yes. I saw a lot of creators are really complaining on. I think that's so tacky that they're putting up their payouts, which is like, bitch, we've been here since 2022 before payouts were a thing. And so these people are, but you guys, if you want to support us, you can do so on Substack, and then none of it will go to Elon, or you can just go give a donation through our website. But I did jokingly post, we've always done it for the love of the game.
Absolutely. I thought we're getting paid big bucks. What's going on? What's happening? What's happening?
So yeah, I just wanted to make a nice joke. I feel like it's really funny that people have any expectations from what is absolutely like a psyop. Like the entirety of X is a social experiment. Why would you expect?
Yeah,
Oh, and these are our channel members. So special thanks to all of you guys. Thank you so much for your monthly contribution to mostly Chris's travels, which is fine with me. He gets to go with all the anxiety, and I get to stay home and live vicariously through him. But yes, thank you guys for all of your support. It really does mean a lot. We've got a fun one today. We're going to dive into the serious stuff later, obviously, with Larry Johnson. But first, we're going to try to keep it a little bit lighter. We're going to cover what is becoming, or what may be, the most important political controversy in the Western world right now, which is the battle over the reflecting pool. And we're also going to talk about Keir Starmer's maybe timely, I think it says his timely exit. I think it's way past time for him to resign. And then later we will be joined by Larry to talk about whatever just happened in Geneva, MOU discussions. Golani just sat down for an interview with al-Mashad. We'll be talking about all of that and the crazy messaging coming out of the Israelis when Larry comes on. So let's talk about this reflecting pool. We're going to talk about it because it's so funny to me, but it's such a distraction. So I guess I'm contributing to the distraction, but I don't know. The reflecting pool. So it all started back in 1922 when the United States decided to build a pool in front of the Lincoln Memorial, which is normal and good. But the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool was built on dredged marshland from the Potomac River with no support structure underneath. So it's basically just a bathtub sitting on a swamp. Kind of fitting, right? 6.75 million gallons of water. So that whole slab is pressing down on this unstable ground for almost 100 years, over 100 years. But this was when it was open and it was functioning, like back in the day, like it was like a center for like social and cultural activity. Like people ice skated on it.
Oh, nice. Look at that.
And they swam in it.
Oh.
Like it was like people went there. There were like little paddle boats on it and stuff. Like people went there and like they actually like hung out. It was a living space. It was like a usable monument. Like families used it. And so it was a massive undertaking, investment into like shared public space. And then over 90 years, the weight of the water, you know, it sinks into the marshy ground and the entire pool started to settle. And it settled about 1 foot into the ground. But the settling cracked the concrete. So those cracks became leaks. And they were like, they put like shores in there and plugs or whatever they could do. But by the year 2000, the pool was leaking 500,000 gallons per week.
500,000 gallons per week?
So that's 26 million gallons in a year, which then the city had to fill up. So the city was literally pouring municipal water into the pool constantly. And so the pool, once it was deteriorated, it was no longer usable because it wasn't safe anymore. And it became not clean and unsanitary. And people didn't even really like going down there.
By the way, that's treated water. That's people's water. That's like drinkable water, probably.
Yeah, it's potable water for sure. Yeah.
Oh my! And they're just pumping it into this pool.
Mm-hmm.
But Flint have clean water. I think Flint is still waiting for some clean water.
Well, Obama, this is where it all comes in, right? So Obama gives his college try. He spends $35 million in 2010, and the bids come back. They came back a little bit higher than that, but he got it down to $35 million between 2010 and 2012. So he did new pilings, a bunch of other construction work, and he got the leak rate down from 26 million gallons a year to 16 million gallons a year. So quite an improvement, but only that much an improvement for $35 million. So then Biden comes in and he says, we want to fix it in its entirety. And the bid came back at 100 million. So the Biden admin said, no, we're not going to spend that much. We'll shelve it for now and we'll come back to it later. So Trump did inherit a problem with an initial bid of 100 million to actually solve. But Trump, in his Trumpianism, Trumpistian ways, I don't know what Trumpian ways. He goes, I'll fix it. And he literally said, I can fix this. I'll do it for the 250th birthday on July 4th. That's my deadline. So Trump's solution, he gets an estimate of 1.8 million, which, first of all, shouldn't that give you pause if we got an estimate of 100 million from Biden's admin and now we're at 1.8? All right. So people say, okay, Trump's really trying to save us money. Whatever. So he awards 2 no bid contracts, both justified by the deadline of July 4th. So that means no bids, no competitive bidding, both bypass the normal federal procurement rules. The first contract went to Atlantic Industrial Coatings, which was 14.7 million. I thought it was 1.8 million. 14.7 million, a Virginia company with no federal contract history, but they work on Trump's golf club pools. So yeah.
Interesting.
Now, I'm glad. Second contract, kid you not, was given to a company called Green Water Services for 1.7 million. That's not the best part. The name's hilarious in and of itself, but here's the owner. Like,
who in the hell is that? First of all, he looks like he came out of Goodfellas. He looks, I'm like, hey, put your name on the check or your brains will be. Something like that. Like, or he could be in The Sopranos, one of these fat guys. Hey, where's the pizza dish? Where's the, gabagool?
He looks like a Batman villain. I feel like I'm in a comic strip. So he gets it's John Cafaro. Of course, he's Italian. John Cafaro, Trump donor. What?
Didn't I say it? I said he's Sopranos. That's it. He's Goodfellas. That's
it. Trump donor, Mar-a-Lago neighbor, over $300,000 donated to Trump. 2 felony convictions, one for bribing a congressman, one for campaign finance violations.
Oh, now we're really gonna go into
he got the $1.7 million contract, but he was in charge of the filtration system. So the first guy with the Trump's pool guy, Atlantic Industrial Coatings, he got the actual coating on the pool. The Meatball Supreme, John Cafaro, got the $1.7 million for the filtration system. Trump, so they drain the pool, they paint the bottom, and they call it American flag blue, which is so amazing and cringe, right? So that's the fix. They're going to paint it. They don't fix the ground. They don't do anything to the slab of concrete. They don't do anything to the leaks. They drain it and then refill it on June 4th. By June 5th, it was algae. And by June 10th, it was just a complete green sludge. So you could see. Well, so there's
look at that.
So there's draining, right? Then the painting, then the refilling, then it starts to get yucky. Then it gets really yucky. And now it's it's literal sludge. But this is not even where it stops. This is okay. It's a tremendous failure. It's whatever. We're used to this. But on June 16th, so people are saying this is the biggest algae bloom recorded on the National Mall ever. I don't know why we have algae records for the National Mall. There should be algae recorded on the National Mall, but I digress.
There you go.
But on June 16th, the National Park Service shows up. And this is when I saw it. And I was like, what the hell is going on? Now, some of you might know, I used to keep fish. So I'm like, why are they filling the pool up with
away the $14 million job to redo
gallon jugs of hydrogen peroxide into a leaking bathtub? They're gallon jugs. What do we So then people start saying, listen, now there's a half-life of certain compounds in hydrogen peroxide, especially when you're trying to kill algae. And once you kill the algae, once it hits the algae and kills it, that hydrogen peroxide is rendered inert, no longer kills any more algae. It doesn't precipitate through the water. So that's why no, look. The paint peeled up only around the edges. Since the hydrogen peroxide or the algae came up only around the edges because the hydrogen peroxide didn't go throughout the pool. So in the center of the bottom row, you could see the center still has all the algae. And the border doesn't have any algae on it. So that's what happened.
God, what?
Well, we started off in a bad way, right? So also, and for those of you who don't know, hydrogen peroxide can affect certain coatings and polymers, and especially when they're not cured properly. So the paint starts bubbling up. It starts bubbling up. So it's really it's like a mixture here. You can see it's sort of peeling back on itself, kind of blowing in the wind. But so online, this gets insane. So on June 4th, like I said, the pool was refilled. June 5th, algae. June 10th, full bloom. On June 15th, Fox News sends a reporter out there, Johnny Belisario, to do a segment defending the Trump administration's work. He's talking about the blue painted floor. It's just a standard pro-Trump segment. But then the left-leaning social media, Occupy Democrats, takes a clip out of context and claims Belisario said the green water is blue, and they started mocking him. Well, you can't, once that starts, we can't mock the Fox News guy.
Is Belisario also from the boot?
Stop.
No, I'm saying, like, what is going on here?
So Snopes, look at, like, so this is the, so then a story comes out. And Snopes, a Fox News reporter tries to argue that green is blue in a stunningly stupid attempt to defend Trump. Snopes has to step in and fact check this and say he was never saying the water was blue. He was talking about the painted floor. But by then, the left and the right are ready to claw each other's eyes out. So we get to watch the hilarity that ensues. And people like Grant Stitchfield go down to the pool and say, you know, this pool is being sabotaged or something. They're dumping algae into the pool. They're starting to say that Antifa and leftists are coming in with algae spores and dumping them into the pool. There was another theory that they were dumping fertilizers into the pool because phosphates will increase algae.
Don't they have cameras around this whole
This
pool?
is the most surveilled city in the world, except for maybe Tel Aviv. Like, this is
Like, what?
this is the most surveilled city in the world. Like, no joke.
You know, for the Greeks out there, they'll know the meme. To video. I want to see the video. I want to see the video. I don't believe it.
They're mocking the Fox News for saying the water's blue when it's green, when Early's talking about, I don't even know what the hell is happening. But then a satire's website makes a grave mistake. They post this story that says Antifa operatives were arrested for dumping algae into the reflecting pool. It was a satire. This screenshot is from Yahoo, but the satire site took it down because people took it seriously and started attacking the left and demanding arrests. So the satire story. So by June 20th, you've got days of online fighting. Left is saying Trump failed. Right is saying it's sabotage. Satire is being treated as real. Legitimate criticism of the contractor's corruption is getting completely buried. It's total madness. And then Trump posts this. Just insane. Many additional people have been arrested. Like, it's just bonkers. Like, they took some knife or blade, they sliced it. How do you slice paint? I don't know. They put a 200, look at this. They took some form of knife or blade and put a 250 long gash into the beautiful facade of what took so much work, competence, and money to build and complete, and poured corrosive and destructive chemicals into the pool. And no one saw this?
What are you going to say? What are you going to say? Literally, we are talking about a swamp.
You're getting there. You get it. But wait, it gets even better. So what did we do? Everybody's arguing. If you go look at don't look anymore. It's died down. But yesterday, the comment sections were insane. They're ready to kill each other over a reflecting pool. Check this out. This is last night. The National Guard and the police are there guarding it.
They're guarding a leaking pool.
Yes.
So our tax dollars are paying to try to repaint and plug up holes in an enormously leaking pool. And now we're using our tax dollars to pay police and National Guards people to watch that leaking pool.
Right. And all of this, and don't forget, everybody probably remembers the Trump administration was very proud of this pool, like that it was getting done and they were going to do it for cheaper and all of that. And they were going to save all this money and yada, yada, yada. And now they're screaming, oh, you don't want to report on anything but the pool. And it's like, you guys didn't stop talking about it for weeks. And now it's this huge debacle and people are really fighting over it. It's a huge distraction for all the failures of the administration that we're going to talk about later with Larry. But I want to talk about, you said it just now. You said it's a swamp. That's what's perfect about this story is that Trump ran on drain the swamp, clean up Washington, get rid of the corruption, and now there's a literal swamp.
There's a swamp.
And what better place? It's so poetic. It's in the reflecting pool. It's a swamp reflecting right back at you, right back at the Lincoln Memorial. So you know how we've talked about like they're ruining everything that kind of made us us. I mean, I didn't even know that like the pool was used in this way until I was researching for this episode. I didn't know people were like swimming in it and like using it for recreation. That's freaking cool. But things like this are the types of things they want to destroy. I mean, let's look. Here's your rose garden. Jackie Kennedy's rose garden.
Oh my God. They've destroyed everything.
Right. And so here's the pool again, a nice overhead. As you can see, the top being the after. Here's your White House. You might not be able to see it so well. It's right there on the right. So here's a close up. You have to stop and ask. Also, the lawn is destroyed. I didn't put a picture of that, but the lawn is destroyed from the UFC fight and the pre-fight and all that. So you have to ask yourself, why? Why destroy all of these things? The things that sort of make us, what's left of us, Americana, Americans, American history, whatever you want to call it, is gone. It's gone. I could show you the front of the Kennedy Center is also, the facade is covered. It's covered.
I know. But listen, I want to just say one thing. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I proudly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love that land. God bless the USA. And they've got like, they've got like the have you ever seen the music video, by the way?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So they got the farm. Now we can't even repair tractors. Nothing happens in the US.
You can't allowed to repair your own tractor anymore.
You can't repair the tractors. Everything's pesticides, herbicides, fungicides. Everything's collapsing. Families are falling apart. There ain't no roast turkey coming out there and grandma and grandpa looking over hugging the kids and things like that. Like you said it. What is finished? Maybe it never was. Maybe it was a dream.
The World Cup. And I am guilty too of being sucked into the World Cup hype. A little bit of the no bread, all circuses for me. But yeah, perfect timing for the World Cup, right? And let me say this, the World Cup, they are showing out. It looks like everybody's having a really good time, and I'm happy for that. And I'm happy that there have been no negative things or violence, or I don't even think there's even been really any arrests or fights. So that's fantastic. So I'm glad for that. But yes, it is a distraction. Maybe it's a good distraction, but who knows?
Totally. I mean, if you think about that, was just a transfer of wealth. That's all it was. I mean, I could have brought an army of high school kids to go out there, throw some paint down there, and you pay me a couple mil. What do you think they did? What do you think? They hired union jobs? I don't think so. They called Jose and Mario and I don't know, whoever else. They said, guys, come here. Here's a couple buckets. Go paint that thing. That's what they did. Probably, you know what? I'd want to see the records of the workers and employees. They might even be undocumented. They might even have like these visas that they bring for this work because they pay them the least amount. You know that.
Yeah.
Trump uses them on his golf courses.
Loves them. He loves them at Mar-a-Lago. That's why we had to keep the H1. They're the other ones. They're not H1Bs. Were they H1As? They're something else. Or H2Bs. It's like something else. But the service sector, yeah.
Yeah. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing.
I saw the dog that was killed by LAPD. That was incredibly sad. That little doodle.
Wait, they killed a doodle?
Yeah.
They're harmless.
Sad. Yeah. It was really sad. Really sad. I don't recommend looking it up. It's not, I don't want to say like a cab or any of that crap. It was just a really bad situation. I don't know. It's not really like he was looking to kill the dog. It wasn't it's just, I don't want to do this. I don't like to talk about dead dogs or anything like that, especially with my little idiot running around.
I don't get it. I don't know. Listen, the US is in trouble. The UK is in big. George Galloway today. We spent a lot of time together.
Well, yeah, that's what we're going to talk about now. So if you have insights, please share, because I know that he's resigning, right? So that broke over the weekend. The Observer reported, I think
it looks like it tomorrow.
Yeah, he's expected to resign as prime minister tomorrow. That's been reported as expected. The trigger being on Friday when Andy Burnham won the Makerfield by-election with 54.8% of the vote, and he's now in Parliament with a very huge power base. And that was the final pressure on Starmer. Over 100 Labour MPs have been publicly calling for him to resign and set a timetable for his exit. I don't know anything about this Andy Burnham guy.
I know a lot from George today. So George knows him for over, I think he said 20 or 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, he has some redeeming qualities, but there are a couple big problems. Number one, he's a Zionist.
Right. I heard that.
So he's part of the Labor for Israel group and is a big supporter. Number two, he's Russophobic. So no real, outsider there. But he's definitely, going to continue on that track. Now, what this does is he vacates the mayorship of Manchester. And I think that there's going to be some big news around who's going to run for that mayorship. That's going to come out.
George.
I'm not going to steal anybody's thunder, but I'm just saying that there's some stuff happening out there. But in any case, I think that we have a few key things happening. We've got Starmer going. Andy Burnham is probably going to take the next, the premiership or the prime ministership. And then what do we have? We're going to have a showdown between Labor and Reform. Okay, Reform plus conservatives or whatever. But in any case, Labor, it's possible. I want to throw out a hypothetical here. It's possible that Labor in the next election will lose so much that they will have to form a coalition government to keep Reform out. And they could form a coalition government with the Scottish Nationalists, the Welsh Nationalists, the Liberal Democratic Party, and the Greens. If they form, they're going to have to give some concessions. And the big concession will be in Scotland for another referendum on independence. That's in the pipeline. It's already coming. George told me that amongst the Scottish population now, once again, it's in the majority for independence. So I think that it's a possibility we could see another push for independence and the breakup of the United Kingdom again. Whether the government will support that or not is a different story, and they have to agree to it. They have to give their approval. But I think that we're in for a political roller coaster on the British Isles.
Well, is this like for the UK, is this like a one step forward, two steps back sort of thing? Like, thankfully, Keir Starmer's gone, but this guy doesn't sound like much of an improvement. Though, when I was researching, it was saying he did support statehood for Palestine. He promised a clear stance on Israel, Palestine going forward, and a Jewish news. This doesn't mean anything, but Jewish news sources say he's likely to take a tougher line than Starmer on Gaza.
It's possible because the base feels that way, and also because the party has moved a lot. Like, could you imagine coming into office now and being pro-Israel now after everything that's happened?
I don't know what are the Brits doing? Like, I don't know what are the British people thinking? Is what
I think as you can see, a lot of people in Britain, especially Labour people who've now left or are in resistance, as well as people in the Workers' Party of Britain, which is George Galloway's party, and others, they are obviously very much supportive of Palestine and Palestinian rights. And we should know this. The British mandate of Palestine that existed prior to the creation of the State of Israel, the soldiers who fought there said that the Jews were the biggest terrorists and the worst of the worst. Imagine, they had nothing but the best to say more often than not on the Arabs. But because the State of Israel was born via Zionist, really Jewish supremacist organizations that committed terrorism against the British soldiers, like the King David Hotel bombing, and assassinations, even assassinations of people who saved Jews during the Holocaust, but were not Zionists. I'm gonna make a post about this because I learned some facts today. I was floored. I didn't really realize it. But one thing that I heard from George back in 2019 during the Great March of Return was a lot of veterans wrote their memoirs and spoke about how violent and barbaric the Zionist organizations were in terms of their terrorism, and sadistic, which we now know, by the way. We confirmed that with a lot of documentaries and things like that. So British public has an idea of what Israel is, of course, because once again, this was a former colony. But I think that the needle everywhere is moving on Israel. There's no doubt about that. The winds have changed, and I think Israel is more a pariah than it ever has been in its history. So that's where it's going. For a lot of the world, for sure. I mean, if you look at it, who is the only one supporting Israel? I mean, before, Israel would get, if you look at the votes in the UN over time, the votes are slowly constricting on Israel. Public opinion is shifting on Israel. You know, that's just a fact. You know.
Yeah, but the UN is rendered almost useless. We can see your comments. You're not shadow banned. Don't worry. I got you. But yeah, like then the UN is
the UN is useless. I'm just talking about in terms of
the sentiment overall.
Yes, they can't do shit. Of course not. If Israel's gonna cease to exist, it's gonna cease to exist from internal pressure. The fighting between the Chabad and this sector and that sector of the society and this one and that one, that's what's gonna change it.
You know,
secular, religious, who knows?
I should have uploaded it. Maybe the producer could grab it. But Danny Danon has been going nuts.
Haven't you seen him did you see that?
Yeah.
That was like, excuse me.
Yeah. Absolutely insane at the UN. That's because the report, and I think we touched on it here, but we didn't want to get too far into it just because of how harrowing it is. But the report from the New York Times, all three of those reports. So there's two reports done through actual inquiries, and then there was the report done by the New York Times. So two done by commissions and then one by the New York Times, and also corroborated by those commissions. Those were the stories about what was going on in Israel at the prisons and with the dogs and so on and so forth. Well, those have made it all the way up to the UN, and Israel was placed on a blacklist for sexual crimes during war. And so, I mean, but why that reaction from it? Why does he, I don't know.
Do we have that video, by the way?
I don't know.
Let's see if we can play it. Hold on. It might be here. I can get it for us real quick here. Hold on. Give me a second. I can download it here. Hold on.
Yeah, he was talking to Representatives Vanessa Frazier.
Here we go. I got it right here.
Okay.
The so-called UN experts.
Hold on. I'm coming here. Oh my God, I hate hearing his voice, but we have to. What can we do? All right, here we go. Uploading now.
Yes. So fun. Oh my God, you did it.
I did it. Of course.
No
you
way.
Think I'm inept?
Yeah, I did.
Wait, what?
Of course.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
Why do you think that?
Oh my God. We literally asked for the video. The producer sends me a picture of a bar, weight bar. And he's play the video on X. I'm working out.
It's loading. Hold on. It's almost up. I'm working.
Yeah, wrong threat. Okay. I don't have the video.
It's almost there. It's almost there. It's loading. I mean, the circle's going.
You should have let me do it. Your Russian internet doesn't work very well.
Excuse me. No speaking negatively about.
Yeah, kids talk about Russia. What's going on in Russia anyway?
Here we go. Hold that thought.
The so-called UN experts who bully, pressure, and smear. You caved. You caved to the pressure. You caved to the Secretary General's obsession with targeting Israel. And
I'm sorry, but I have to make a point. I have to make a point of order.
You will be quiet
because this is what the chair should be doing.
You spoke.
I make a point of order. They should not be personal. It should not be personal.
You part of the bullying.
I have a point of order.
Shame on you.
I have a point of order.
You spoke.
I will not walk out.
You walk out.
We have verified evidence.
You part of this.
This is a point of order.
You part of this obsession.
No personal attack.
You part of this obsession.
No personal.
Excuse me. You will allow me to finish my words.
Without personal attack.
You are part of this shameful behavior.
No personal attack.
Sorry.
No personal attack.
We'll come back. Let him finish, and then you have the opportunity to speak.
No.
Shame on you. Shame on you.
Let him finish, and then everybody will have the opportunity to speak.
You work for the UN, and you will respect the rules of the UN. Respect the rules of the UN.
Ambassador,
you will not allow you to bully us. We are a member state, and you work for the UN, and you will be quiet now. You will be quiet. Shameful. You and your shameful report.
I'm sorry.
We know why you took this position.
Sorry
we will not
again.
allow you to be part of this shameful campaign.
Sorry
I will
again.
finish my words.
Ambassador,
if you don't want to listen,
Vanessa,
go out.
Sorry. Let him finish, and then you will have the opportunity to reply. Let him finish.
Mr. Ambassador.
According to parliamentary parliamentary rules, like Robert's rules, points of order take precedence. So she's in the right. You can, if we're having a meeting and I say point of order, parliamentary rules say that point of order is up for discussion, right? It has to stop the discussion at that point for the point of order to be heard. She asked for the point of order, and look at his response. You be quiet. You be quiet. When I heard him, I could only hear Rose, Rose. Like this kind of Nazi, kind of yelling and screaming. Really, like he sounds like that. I'm like, oh my God. When we say that, it's not really far off, off the meter. But look at how he treats. You work for us. We are a member state. And I gotta say, Jewish supremacy is a problem. They really do see themselves above others in this. I mean, he acts like that. He's like, who are you?
She's from Malta. That's why her accent is so nice. She's the United Nations Secretary General Special Representative for Children and Armed Conflict since October 2025. So
she didn't allow. You see, she didn't allow him to step on.
They muted her mic, but not his. Why? Your audio's gone.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Internet maybe problems. But it's horrible. It's horrible. But she stood her ground. No personal attacks, right? You can't. Ad hominem is not allowed in parliamentary. You can't attack another person during proceedings like that.
What did he say to her? Because from what I'm reading is that she said he demanded he demanded the resignation of a senior UN official, Pramila Patten, over a report that blacklisted Israel for conflict-related sexual violence. Vanessa Fraser responded that the findings were based on verified evidence. That's when he cut her off, saying, "You will be quiet now."
You be quiet. And he said, if you get out, leave. You
caved to the secretaries generals. He accused them of anti-Semitism. Well, of course, Fox News says it's bias. He accused them of anti-Semitism and says, you caved to the Secretary General's obsession with targeting Israel. When she objected and demanded that Danan stop the personal attacks, saying she had verified evidence, Danan fired back, "We are a member state and you work for the UN and you will be quiet now."
Yeah. Who are you? Oh, I hate their accent too. Oh, it's the worst.
Ashkenazi Bwain. Your big Ashkenazi Bwain in Israel. I'm working on I'm really close.
Wait, please don't use that ever anywhere near me.
I have to be able to do it in an Israeli accent, and I'm gonna say maniacal things. Don't you ever hear when I do the Jewish lady from New York accent, and I
listen. After you remember the famous speech of Hugo Chavez,
the sulfur one.
Sulfur. After seeing his ugly face, his satanic face, we gotta cleanse it. We're gonna cleanse the stream.
I have a baby Palestine flag. There you go.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go. We cleanse the stream. I feel much better now.
Well, Larry got the link, so he'll be here any minute. But while we're waiting for Larry, why don't you give us a little bit of a lowdown about what's going on with Russia? We talked about Lukashenko. They're still going back and forth. I believe Zelensky threatened him again today. Let me find what he just said. It was just before we started the stream. He said, Belarus must dismantle the relay stations used for Russian drones within a week, or he will strike them. He stated that if Lukashenko doesn't remove the relays within a week, Ukraine will remove them itself, adding that he had explained to Lukashenko that step one is no technical support for Russian relay stations. Is this even a thing? Do they even have that? Does that even exist?
I mean, according to Zelensky, it exists. As far as I know, I don't know of any of these relay stations. This is just an excuse, I think, to expand the war into Belarus.
Right. And also, well, like I said, and I'll recap for you guys, we had that attack on the Belarusian school children earlier this week, which I still think that there were no fatalities from the children. The chaperone did pass away, unfortunately. And that was coming after... What?
Who was pregnant?
Yes, she was pregnant. Oh, my God. I think her twins were even with her. I think they were with her on the bus. Yes. It's the husband, her husband is a sports coach at the school where the children were.
Wasn't she pregnant with twins?
No, she has twins and she's pregnant with another one.
Oh,
no, I don't know about if they were another set of twins, but she has she has a set of twins. Wow. And so that came after Lukashenko's comments saying, we talk about the Holocaust, what Holocaust? And then he said the things about you're killing everybody in Gaza, especially the women and children. And now we're getting full-on threats to Belarus's sovereignty. Are they talking about that at all inside of Russia?
People are just saying, the dog's yapping again. But people know that if he were to attack Belarus, it's game on. It's actually going to lead precipitously to the fall of the Ukrainian regime. Belarus has an enormous standing army that's ready to go. I mean, does he want to open up that front again?
Well, I don't know. Also, we have this not new. This is a historical rift finally rearing its head, maybe for good now. But yes. Poland and Ukraine with so what we reported, I believe we reported on it on the show with them taking the body of Melnik from
of course we did,
Luxembourg. They took it from Luxembourg to Ukraine in some weird procession and did some sort of funeral or something for him and his wife. And for those of you who don't know, people often say, that the OUN and UPA were Nazi collaborators, and they forget to kind of stress the fact that, yes, that's when you say somebody's a Nazi collaborator, you were insinuating that their main target was Jews. For the OUN and the UPA, they did target Jews with the Nazis, but their main target and the reason why they joined mostly with the Nazis was the Russians and the Poles. They wanted to get rid of the Russians and the Poles. And if they had to get rid of the Jews in the meantime to placate the Nazis, then so be it. That was fine too. They didn't care.
They also killed Hungarians, didn't they?
Oh yeah, anybody that wasn't Ukrainian, obviously. And so we're that's obviously in Western Ukraine in the Galicia, Volyn area. And so Melnik, and obviously you guys might recognize the name Bandera, were involved in the massacres of Poles. You guys, again, you can watch the movie Volyn. It's free on YouTube. Really good movie. That that Ukraine got banned in the EU. So it's probably true. So why was Zelensky even awarded? He was awarded this. Maybe the EU pressured him, or maybe it was just the shit libid regime that's heading Poland right now. But he was awarded the highest order in Poland for a non-Polish person is the Order of the White Eagle.
Correct. So it's normal diplomatic protocol that visiting heads of states are awarded the highest rank of the highest order of a country when they make a state visit, or if they have good bilateral relations and there is an exchange with that leader. So, for example, Putin visits China. China gives him the highest state friendship order, vice versa to Xi Jinping with I think it was the Order of St. Andrew. Ambassadors, remember the ambassador from Iran who got the Order of Pius, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is the highest order for the Vatican. Same thing holds true there. So it's just a common diplomatic courtesy, right? That's why he was given it. And then, of course, it's whenever there's a falling out, just like when the Syrian regime change operation happened, the so-called Syrian civil war, France withdrew its recognition and terminated Bashar al-Assad's Legion, I think the French Legion of Honor. Yeah. So they use it. And also the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth II, revoked all of the British orders that were bestowed on Idi Amin in Uganda. Also Gaddafi as well, I believe there was a revocation of some of his orders after Lockerbie and other moments. So these are used as political and diplomatic tools, just like honorary doctorates.
Yes.
Right. So, for example, the Turkish foreign minister was in Russia just last week at MGIMO, and they gave him an honorary doctorate. If something, I don't know, if Turkey, assassinates a Russian ambassador like they did previously, maybe the MGIMO would withdraw that honorary doctorate. Although it takes a lot to withdraw something like that. I mean, people who are accused of misconduct or theft or things like that, they get that stuff revoked too. So it depends. But I just want to say, to sum it up, all these are political and diplomatic tools that are used.
So the award is revoked. I think it was revoked yesterday.
Yes. By official decree.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, by official decree it was revoked and signed into law in Poland. So that's it. He doesn't have it anymore.
58% of polls say that Zelensky has a negative view of Poland. 53.3% of polls believe Zelensky's attitude towards Poland is negative, with 33% saying it's rather negative and 24% saying it's definitely negative. That's the breakdown of the 50%. And then 30% saw his attitude as positive. So he's declining in the polls. No pun intended.
There are a lot of Ukrainians living in Poland, so I'm wondering what they feel about the situation and there's a lot of tension now.
Also today it says, this is another story that came out. Hatred of Poles towards Ukrainians in Poland is growing. They are being attacked, humiliated, and their children bullied in schools. The head of Ukraine's foreign ministry said that such manifestations of xenophobia pose a real threat to citizens' safety. Well, and that I should have uploaded the photo. Did you know that when Zelensky sent the award back, because he was asked to send it back, he sent it by regular mail?
I saw the pictures. I was what a cheap. I mean,
his statement said, "Gratitude to the Polish people." And obviously he said, he talked about a dignified peace, warned that Europe must not suffer defeat in this century. But he signed it, Slava Ukraini, to the Poles.
Of course he did.
Can you tell our viewers once again why this is like incredibly offensive, and like this would be like me saying Sig Heil to a Jew?
Yeah, I mean this motto, this phrase goes back to that period of time, starting with the nationalist movement and especially the collaborators of the Nazis, but more importantly, the nationalists who seek an ethnically pure Ukraine. No Russians, no Poles, no Hungarians, no Romanians, no Roma, no nobody except these so-called Ukrainians. And of course, when you say that stuff, they use it all with Azov, with Pravi Sector, all these guys. This is basically the glorification of this, fake country. But that's what it is. That's what it is, and that's why it's the equivalent. You see it on all the big banners and posters and placards and things like that, always with Bandera's face as well.
Medvedev says Poland's president has finally stripped the Nazi worshipping Kiev degenerate of the Order of the White Eagle. I'm sure that won't be a problem for this Banderite in chief. Now there's more room on his green sweatshirt for Hitler's iron cross with golden oak leaves. I really can't.
I love him. I love him.
What do you think about what's going on in Russia? Like, I know we don't really talk negatively about Russia that often, but I'm getting a little bit disenchanted.
Don't be disenchanted, but I would say that things are difficult. There's no walk in the park. This is an extremely difficult war. This is a very technical war. I mean, the drones now are everywhere.
Yeah, I've been hearing that.
Creating the battlefield. People I speak to down there are telling me that there are more drones now than ever before. And, we've reported also that, somebody that I knew, a comrade in arms, was killed last week by a drone. Basically on his, really his first mission out. So you can see that it's all up and down the line. Now, Russia is making advances, but very slowly and very costly. The Ukrainian regime is targeting civilians and trying to influence public opinion in Russia. Because we're in an election cycle here, we have parliamentary elections in September. And it's a contested election. So they're trying to create tension within the society. They're trying to exact economic cost on the Russian government. And we're seeing that they're having some limited success in that regard in Crimea, in other border regions. And of course, the southern part of Russia gets a lot of its money from tourism. Tourism's at a standstill in many of these places because of the ongoing drone attacks. Now, I spoke with a friend of the show that we have living in Crimea that I visited. And he told me that there are drones all day above. You can hear them. And the problem is they keep targeting air defense. So they'll send waves of drones. Those drones will slowly pick off air defense units and structures. And the problem is that you can't just replace it overnight. If you destroy an air defense system, it takes months to years to rebuild. So they're doing that deliberately and then really pushing as much as they can. And this brother of ours, this comrade of ours from Crimea is going to join us on DD Geopolitics in the near future. Stay tuned. He's phenomenal. He's well known. He's well loved. I saw him today. So we had a great time with George Galloway and the crew. But just stay tuned for that because we're going to hear it from a first-person account of what's going on. I stayed with him when I was in Crimea the first time. And the situation is difficult. But I met with the deputy special representative of President Putin to Crimea yesterday. He was very thankful for me having gone to Crimea so many times, and he said, you are more than welcome, and we will continue to struggle. I said, we're with you, regardless of the situation. There's gas rationing happening. We just reported on that on the channel because the Ukrainian regime targeted some of the ferry boats and killed 4 people and wounded 2 dozen people just yesterday.
Wait, what?
Yes. So a lot of the gas comes over by ferry boat.
Okay.
And the Ukrainian regime targeted one of these ferry boats, killed 4 people, wounded.
Just civilians transporting gas?
Yes. Yes. They're hitting the bridge, they're hitting the roads, they're hitting the highways, they're hitting gas stations, they're hitting gas trucks, they're hitting trains, anything that they can get their hands on.
What's the plan?
The plan is exactly to create necessary social conditions for tension. And who knows? I mean, this is the Rand report. Regime change is the goal for a lot of the people in the West.
No, I'm saying what's the goal for what is Russia going to do? What's the plan? I already know the West's plan.
Well, I think that Russia is going to try to increase its response, but it's a challenge. Russia has to eventually figure out if they're going to cross the Rubicon and do general mobilization and really declare this a war. But that's gonna also cause some other changes in the society that I don't know if people are ready for that.
You don't think so?
I think some people in the big cities are not ready for that. A war? I mean, our people are ready for it. I mean, I think that the sort of the pro SMO population, which is the majority, but there's still a sizable minority that is against the SMO. They're not very vocal about it, but they are against, and they make it well known. I mean, I was at a speech and I heard somebody openly critical. That should tell everybody what they need to know about so-called Russian authoritarianism and fascism, and Putin, is some big dictator. No, I hear criticisms all the time here, all the time.
Oh, by the way, the Iran match ended in a draw. I think, isn't all of Iran's matches ended in a draw? That means that Iran would be winning these games if the United States wasn't torturing them. Oh. Thank God he's here. These people are so bored with us. Larry's here, everyone. Larry's here. Oh, there he is. Whole get up.
There he is.
Yeah. I moved outside.
Oh.
So sit out here and enjoy the heat. I've been cooped up outside all day on a class. So,
have you been able to pay attention to the news?
Yeah, it's on, it's off, it's on, it's off.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we're gonna try to get through some of the muck. I have a question for both of you, but I gotta set it up a little bit. So earlier this week, on the 16th, then Trump was criticizing Israel. Remember, everybody started to get excited. He was talking about their heavy-handedness in Lebanon, saying the retaliation is disproportionate. It didn't go over well. Then at the G7, he insinuated that Golani would do a better job in Lebanon than the Israelis. And Lindsey Graham also seemed to echo these sentiments. And then Vance came out at a press conference with what people were calling his mic drop moment. Let me play that for the viewers.
Of Iran, October 7th happened. And if there's concern that perhaps Hezbollah could end up doing some sort of attack on that scale, then how exactly are we talking about the reaction from the United States? If we're talking about perhaps a humongous scale attack that actually could happen, are we waiting for that type of attack? I mean, what exactly is a scale here?
Sorry, you said what exactly is a scale?
Yeah, well, I mean, what type of attack would it take to actually get a reaction from the United States?
Sorry, that's the wrong video, but people know what the video that I'm talking about. That one's important for later. But the video where he complained about Israel, and then he went into the New York Times interview and said, "You're a country of 9 million people. You can't just kill your way out of solving every single national security problem that you have." Then on the next day, he did another interview. He's doing a book tour for his book called Communion. And he said, if everything is Jew hate, then nothing is Jew hate, which obviously did not go over well at all. Today, he's snubbed. Completely snubbed by Qatar. Iran refuses the photo op.
Yep.
While he's in Switzerland, Trump posts this. Iran must immediately stop their highly paid proxies in Lebanon from causing trouble. If they don't, we will hit Iran very hard, just like we did last week, only harder. Obviously, just for you guys' reference, this is a direct violation of Clause 1 of the MOU. We couldn't even make it past the first one. But while this is happening, while JD Vance is still in Switzerland, and then he says this.
Do you have a message for Prime Minister Netanyahu with regards to Israel's military operations in Lebanon?
Well, first of all, we've seen great progress over the last just couple of days in ensuring that the ceasefire holds in Lebanon. These things are always a little bit messy. If you go back to how much was happening 3 months ago and compare it to 3 weeks ago, great progress has been made. If you go back to 3 weeks ago to 3 days ago, additional progress has been made. The president has committed.
Progress. I feel good. And then simultaneously, Trump's bulldog, Lindsey Graham, who earlier this week seemed to be on the same page with Trump about the heavy-handedness of Israel, is now on the same page with Trump's tweet against Lebanon.
Let's try a diplomatic solution. I think it's going to fail. What happens next? I spent 4.5 hours with President Trump Friday. Here's what I think will happen next. If this deal fails, President Trump is going to take the Strait of Hormuz over by force. The United States will control the Strait of Hormuz. We'll charge a fee for all those who go through to pay for the operation. And we're going to expand the Abraham Accords in calendar year 2026. We're going to get Saudi Arabia to join the Abraham Accords, and which is the biggest change in 5,000 years in the Mideast. And if Iran contests control of the Strait of Hormuz by the United States, we will obliterate them. So to all the people listening, if this diplomatic effort fails, President Trump is going to take the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah. We're going to run it. We're going to try to get Saudi Arabia to join the Abraham Accords to end the Arab-Israeli conflict in 2026. And if Iran continues to attack Israel and Lebanon, the new policy will be we'll hit Iran. So to the Iranians, if you're listening, when you use Hezbollah to attack Israel, I think the new policy will be we will attack Iran.
A little switcheroo or a little projection. What are your thoughts on all of this? I said, wow, they're just taking Iran's words and reversing them to attach these two fronts. But I also see there's a bit of hanging JD Vance out to dry. Earlier this week, people got ahead of themselves, got very excited. Oh, they're turning on Israel. Of course, Chris and I were like, not so fast. But now it's clear that maybe JD Vance didn't get the memo that we're turning back to not turning back on Israel. So what do you think of all of this?
Strategic Petroleum Reserve is what I think. And people go, okay, what the hell does that have to do with what's going on in Switzerland or what's going on in Iran? The U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve, bunch of oil, combination, bless you, a combination of light crude and heavy crude that's stored in these salt caverns down on basically on the southern coast of the United States. Total capacity was, let's say, 750 million barrels. Well, as of June 15th, so as of a week ago, that was down to about 340 million barrels. And so, oh, so we got half left. No, we don't, because you have to keep 20% of that total permanently stored there without taking it out. Otherwise, the structural integrity of those caverns starts collapsing. So that works out to about 140 million barrels of oil. Subtract that from 340, we get 200 million barrels of oil. And you go, oh, well, great. Have much does the United States use on a daily basis? We use 20 million barrels. So in other words, we got 10 days, and it's actually it's closer to 8 days of supply left, just if we used it at the 20 million level. But it appears we've been drawing it out at 16 million barrels a week. So, we might be able to extend it to 18 days. Remember, Donald Trump himself said at the G7 that we got like 4 weeks left. Well, he wasn't lying. He's right. But here's the real problem. It's not so much the gasoline. It is the limited amount of the heavy crude that is used to make either diesel or jet fuel. The jet fuel goes into these things called F-35s, A-10s, F-15s, F-16s. So we literally, within weeks, could be having to make a choice. And I titled my article, Guns or Butter? Or this way it'd be, planes or pizza? So, you're going to get the pizza delivered, or you're going to fly your F-35 to bomb Iran. So all the tough talk and, chest beating that Donald Trump is doing could all come for naught in a few weeks. I mean, in literally a couple of weeks. The United States could make all the threats at once in the world. It won't be able to pull the trigger. Apart from that, we've already started withdrawing air assets from the region. So this is a real serious problem. I got confirmation of it last night from an individual, a source that reached out to me, a source who's an internationally known energy consultant, a source who's working currently in let's call it the Gulf region, and has got some intimate information about what's actually going on. And it is, we're basically, we're screwed is the kindest way to put it, the most polite, perhaps semi-polite way to put it. So that comes back to all this posturing, all this back and forth. Iran holds the cards. And, I'm a little, we need to the press needs to do a better job of clarifying this whole, the Strait of Hormuz is closed. Okay, so I wanted to put it in other terms that perhaps people can visualize and think of it. So think of this grand hotel, and it's February 26th, and it's all lit up, and it sits on a hill, and everybody's coming and going and coming and going. February 28th comes, boom, all the lights in the hotel go off except some lights that are down in the manager's office. And all the coming and going, there's no more coming and going. And there's concern about, let's call it a rat infestation. So everybody sort of stays put. Now, there's the announcement, the hotel's reopening. The only problem is you've got to go in and inspect all the rooms to make sure there are no rats. So yeah, the hotel is open, but there are really no guests going in and out because the inspection, which is going to take 6 months, up to 6 months, isn't completed yet. And people go, okay, what the hell does that have to do with the Strait of Hormuz? All of these tankers that are sitting in the Persian Gulf, been sitting there now for 4 months. They are insured, unless they're owned by Iran, they are insured by Lloyd's of London. And Lloyd's of London says, you ain't selling anywhere with our insurance unless we're sure that there are no more mines floating there in the Persian Gulf. Great. That's just a simple matter of clearing it up. Yeah, Pentagon testified before Congress in April and said, yeah, it'll take us up to 6 months to clear the strait. And the way the insurance industry reacts is, great, let us know when it's clear, then we can start green lighting ships to go. So even though they opened the straits the other day, the only ships that were moving were Iranian ships, maybe a few from Iraq. But, I'll call it a faux opening. It's an opening in words only, but it's not backed up by actual movement of ships because of the mine situation and the need to demine. Sorry for the long explanation, but you know, that puts all this, I think, into perspective.
Larry, it's very windy at your house.
Yeah, is it? Let me see if this damn microphone.
I think you need to put voice isolation.
No, it should be.
Yeah, that shouldn't. I think I've got. If it's on the computer, that's
there you go. Okay, let's fix this. Go ahead. Let's get us out. Better. Thank you. Very good. Thank you, Larry. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody said Larry needs a windsock. No, he had the wrong mic.
Yeah. Well, it's StreamYard. I have it's supposed to default to the earphones, and then it says it's on there, but it was on the computer.
No worries. No worries.
Yeah. No worries. All right.
I do want to ask you both about what you think about this sort of turn, like the anti-Israel stuff from Trump and friends this week did have real world effects. I mean, the polls in Israel swung all the way in the opposite direction. I think 46 points in the opposite direction for Trump, bringing him down to his lowest approval rating, I think, ever, or at least since 2023 genocide began. And so that has other repercussions in and of itself. Why do you think that they went so hard this time why do you think Trump specifically went so hard this time against Israel? Just for the feels, for the vibes?
No, I think it was a week ago that, when he signed off on, this last Monday, that he signed off on the memorandum. And that's because, I don't know if it was Chris White or Chris Wright or someone in the intelligence community came in to say, the economy is completely screwed. We're dead. You got to get this reopened. We don't have alternatives. And people say, "Oh, you're being a Cassandra." You made warnings before. Nothing's come of it. I just, I'm not. I don't make up the numbers. The numbers are what the numbers are. The administration has been actively drawing down the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in order to suppress gasoline prices in the United States. But there is not some magical alternative supply of diesel. And the heavy oil needed to make diesel is largely tied up right now in the Persian Gulf and is not coming out of the Persian Gulf. What is coming out is going largely to China, not the United States and not Europe. Europe is in equally dire straits. So, I think Trump may have finally recognized that he had that Bibi was the problem here. But it's actually Bibi's not the problem, because Bibi goes away. He's still got Naftali Bennett, who's on the supposedly a leftist liberal kind of guy. And he's talking about he's going to be more of a nightmare for Iran than Bibi Netanyahu.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
And he said he wants to do full siege warfare on Gaza. He's ready for full war against Iran by 2027. So you're getting at exactly what one of my fears were. We were spitballing and brainstorming kind of all week about this messaging. And I said the same thing. I said, maybe they're just going to try to scapegoat Bibi. Bibi was the problem. If we can get rid of him and we could continue on with a new Israel. Yeah. Very interesting that when Vance was kind of saying against, here we go. I have the clip.
Sorry, you said what exactly is a scale?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like what type of attack?
No, I don't. Anyway, he does say that the Israeli cabinet is attacking Trump, and he specifically calls out the Israeli cabinet. It's very interesting that it's specifically the Israeli cabinet. The problem is the cabinet. The problem is their comments. The problem is the messaging. And then, interestingly enough, Mike Huckabee says this today.
The president says things to people, and he says things to the world. But the one thing that I've always heard him say, always, and that I've always watched him do, is that America has an unbreakable bond with the state of Israel. And I trust that he means what he says.
So all of these things can be true at one time. You can have an unbreakable bond with Israel, but be ready to toss Benjamin Netanyahu in the trash.
Well, yeah, but Netanyahu is irrelevant. I mean, 60-70% of the Israeli population supports, let's call it, the extermination of the Palestinians and the extermination of Iran. So you get rid of Netanyahu, you don't change the policy at all. That's the problem.
Correct. 100%.
Yeah. This is interesting, like the differentiation between, if we can have Naftali Bennett. Even Naftali Bennett says it. He says the best thing that our enemies did was leave Benjamin Netanyahu in charge, or the best thing we did for our enemies was leave Benjamin Netanyahu in charge because we're on a collision course to collapse, kind of presenting himself as like the only sort of savior of Israel. But anyway, so all of this is going on. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I want to see the Israelis carry out the threat to attack Iranian oil infrastructure. Go ahead, do it. Because Iran will turn around and attack Israeli oil infrastructure. The difference is Iran is 80 times the size of Israel. Iran's got multiple refineries, multiple energy, if you will, targets. Israel's only got like 2. So talk about all Iran has to do is concentrate fire on those 2, and then all of a sudden Israel is out of fuel, out of energy. Yep. That's why I say, okay, keep talking stupid. Go ahead, act on it. See what happens.
Combine that with a strike on a desalination plant. I mean, they are so vulnerable. They really are vulnerable that they could cease to exist as a functional state if this escalates in a matter of weeks.
Yeah, this is they're caught. Trump is caught. He has no good military options. They've already demonstrated during, up to June 10th, June 11th, that the attempts to open the strait, and they'd go in and bomb targets at Kemsh Island and Sirki and Bandar Abbas and on, and they'd hit positions from which missiles are being launched. They would hit communication nodes, radar tower, etc. And then Iran would turn around and just, bomb the dickens out of the United States with missiles, and really causing devastating losses, at least on material side. And that's one thing. Again, that's not being reported in the press, and the administration is suppressing news about that. So, this is like Trump said, we're going to come back and bomb you harder. Keep talking, guy. You're going to run out of gas to keep your airplanes in the sky.
True.
Yeah. Trey Yinks, too, he and Barak Ravid are the 2 people who convey Trump's threats to the world. So here he is this morning. This is also while the talks in Switzerland were ongoing.
Switzerland and the threats coming from the Iranian regime. President Trump telling Fox News that the U.S. may take over the strait in the future if they have to and collect tolls. The president described this as the United States being the guardian angel of the Strait of Hormuz and the Middle East. And the president said ultimately that would involve the U.S. taking 20% of the oil that passes through the strait. Remember, this comes in reaction to the Iranians saying they will close the Strait of Hormuz in response to Israeli strikes against Hezbollah in Lebanon. President Trump tells Fox News he spoke with Iranian officials overnight and said, you close it and you won't have a country.
Well, so we're back to threatening Iran. I love this, though. It's like, if you bomb Israel for bombing Hezbollah, we'll take 20% of your oil. How? How does that?
Yeah. Well, not only that, I just asked, hey, Mr. President, are those Iranians you're talking to? Are they here in the room with us now? His imaginary conversations at night with Iranians who, we haven't had a direct conversation with Iran maybe until today. The most striking thing, but for me, going back to the opening of the show, was that video you showed of the representative of Qatar just dissing Vance.
Yep.
I mean, hello, are the largest U.S. military base in the region is where? Qatar. So that's sending a signal that U.S. may not be welcome much longer in Qatar. Without Al Udeid Air Force Base could be history. And we've been, God knows, we've been there for, it's been big. I was there. I went through there back in May of 2006.
Everybody's
so 20
been
years. Yeah, 20 years ago. Of course, I went through the JSOC side of it. So the top secret inside the top secret inside the secret. But
well,
did you eat at the Burger King trailer?
Yep, of course. You always eat at every Burger King, every base I've been to. Every base has a Burger King except my base. The base here doesn't have Burger King. Very interesting. And then through all of this, the Iranian delegation walks out.
Yeah. Well, apparently, again, the threats, the violation, as you pointed out, of the first section of the agreement, they go, okay, he's already violated it. We're out.
Exactly.
And, the United States needs this agreement more than Iran does. Because Iran, I've heard some of the craziest stuff. There's some, I guess, on a lot of X channels, they're booting around the concept that China and the United States are secretly conspiring
against Iran.
And conspiring to destroy the dollar. Hang on. Where did people come up with this stuff? Donald Trump is doing everything in his power to try to derail the talks right now, joining Bibi Netanyahu in that endeavor. And if the Israelis still foolishly believe that they can control southern Lebanon and vanquish Hezbollah. And the longer they keep at it, the more troops they're going to lose. Israel can't afford to lose personnel like they are.
Yeah, Benjamin Netanyahu said today, we will not be leaving the security zones in Syria, Lebanon, and Gaza. And then Ben-Gvir backed that up by saying he hopes Netanyahu will stand firm against Trump. And he wants to, obviously, Ben-Gvir is also kind of like the Medvedev to Benjamin Netanyahu's Putin, if you will. He's sort of like the crazy person. So he said he wants to bomb all of Lebanon in response. Also, his tweet that went viral yesterday was blocked, saying, for every tear a Israeli mother sheds, 1,000 tears should be shed by the Lebanese people. But that brings us to Lebanon and Syria. There's a lot of weird stuff, rumors swirling about what's going on with Golani, who's saying what? There were rumors before that Golani and Netanyahu were both invited to Trump's birthday extravaganza, with both of them not going. We had theorized that maybe that would be where they would kind of sort of try to devise these plans to go into Lebanon or try to make Golani. I mean, we've always said it's pretty clear Golani will be asked to invade Lebanon when the time comes, because, you have to pay the bill. You don't get to be the king for free. But reports indicate that Golani denied requests for his forces to confront Hezbollah. And recent rumors suggest that he stated he would invade, but only if the Golan was given back and Israel ceased arming the Druze, which was obviously declined. I don't know if you've noticed, but over the week, ISIS attacks have ramped up. There's been 2 suicide bombings this week, and so have protests. And now, of course, people get excited about protests against Golani because, we don't really like him. But look at where they are. They're in Idlib. 70% of the protests are concentrated in Idlib, which is where Golani's stronghold used to be, which is now that vacuum has been filled by someone else backing those puppets up there. Yeah. Do you think there are people obviously sowing discord inside to put pressure on Golani to eventually invade Lebanon?
Well, they can put pressure, but, what's he going to invade with?
Right.
You've got to have, as both of you know, logistics are the key to an army that's advancing into a foreign territory. So you got to be able to supply. I presume you're moving your forces with armored vehicles as well as tanks. So they require fuel. You just don't pull over to the local gas station and gas up. So the question is, have they pre-positioned supply trucks to do that? No. The food, the ammunition requirements, it's just, the Syrian army can't even defend Syria from within. And here's Trump talking about them invading Lebanon. It's just it's sheer stupidity.
Well, Golani sat down for an interview today with al-Mashad. He said, "You won't see Syria interfering in Lebanon, and I don't know why everybody keeps asking me this. I called Trump and told him there are other solutions than war and confrontation with Hezbollah." He also asked rhetorically, why does Lebanon always have to choose between a civil war and an Israeli war? He said he was willing to sit down to have a dialogue with Hezbollah and that Syria wants the best for Lebanon. But he also said this, which is quite contradictory.
في أي مجالات للحوار والنقاش البديل هو الحرب. فينبغي دائما أن تكون البوصلة هي بوصلة الحوار أولا وثانيا وثالثا ورابعا وعاشرا. فلا ينبغي التفكير في غير الحوار في مثل الوضع اللبناني. لدينا مشكلة عميقة مع الحزب، لكن نحن لا نريد أن يموت لبنان بأكمله. يعني نريد أن نحل مشكلة الحزب ويبقى لبنان حيا.
Those subtitles, the party means Hezbollah. So he's saying we have a Hezbollah problem. So I don't want to invade because we're too cowardly, but we got to get rid of this Hezbollah thing. So he's on board anyway. So where does this kind of leave that situation?
Well, again, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, which was the organization of Golani. Prior to that, al-Nusra. Prior to that, ISIS. All three had one thing in common. They hate the Shia. And they see the Shia as apostates that need to be destroyed. So, Golani is trying to strike this, semi-civilized tone. But the reality is he remains a fanatical jihadist. Many Muslims would call him un-Muslim because it's not what he's advocating is non-Islamic, but it gets to masquerade as if it were Islamic. So that's, I think you've heard my characterization before. Golani he's the terrorist version of Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. Oh okay. I mean, and if people are not familiar with the program, it was great. I admit I used to watch it. I thought it was hilarious. Yeah. So you get four male homosexuals who were, one was a great cooker, and other was great designer, and other one knew how to do personal grooming, and fourth was culture. And they'd go find this schlubby heterosexual who's just a mess, and they'd clean him up so he'd look respectable. And so in this case, I'm not suggesting that al-Golani is homosexual. No. I'm suggesting it's the homosexual West, the Donald Trumps and the Macrons and the Starmers who went in to clean up Golani, dress him up, put him in a suit, talk this way, walk this way, and but you didn't change the fundamental nature of the guy. Yeah, we need to get rid of Hezbollah. So sorry, but
exactly. So it's at the end of the day, it's the same thing. Also, I wanted to ask you, and I've got 2 super chats asking. We've asked Colonel Wilkerson, he was on, and we asked John Kiriakou, who was also on, about the NDAA 224, which is now 219. My theory was also, given everything that we talked about, this was the executive trying to create distance between themselves and the legislative, because the NDAA belongs to the legislative. That is their project. The executive is not involved. They can't veto it. And so this could be them saying, we were saying Israel's not good. It wasn't us that did the NDAA. But just in general, what are your thoughts on the NDAA 219? Well,
it's not just 224, it's 622.
622, yeah, we covered that with John as well. Yeah.
Two different sections. So right now, the way foreign military assistance works, it is basically handled through State Department, the Office of Political Military Affairs. And so it gets into a public debate, and you get the focus on a specific country. And so the Zionists are correctly looking and saying, boy, the times they are a-changing here in the United States, and not for the good. So how do we get insurance for ourselves where even if the politics turn against us, we are basically institutionalized in the budget in such a way that they can't just point and say, "Oh, this is money for the genocidists. This is money for Israel." No, this is money to help boost XYZ capability for the United States. So that's why they're doing this. In fact, it's almost a preemptive strike. They recognize we're not going to be able to hold the line with our traditional methods. Therefore, we got to come up with this other traditional method where we're simply, institutionally built into the acquisition of new weapons and technology and intelligence.
Also, I also theorized that they also might be they might know something is coming and they might be trying to create distance before that comes. And here is the video that I tried to play twice as the wrong video, but now it's the right one. This kind of spooked me.
Iran, October 7th happened. And if there's concern that perhaps Hezbollah could end up doing some sort of attack on that scale, then, how exactly are we talking about the reaction from the United States? If we're talking about perhaps a humongous scale attack that actually could happen, are we waiting for that type of attack? I mean, what exactly is a scale here?
Sorry, you said what exactly is a scale?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, what type of attack would it take to actually get a reaction from the United States to say, okay, now we're actually going to start dropping bombs on Iran for having bad behavior?
Well, we don't want a scale of any attack. Any attack, whatever its scale, is unacceptable under this agreement. Now, you asked the question saying that.
Why are reporters asking what scale of attack would it take for you to start dropping bombs on Iran?
Yeah. No,
Sounds
look,
like a one to me.
There was a comment by another Israeli politician, Lapid, I think is his name.
Yeah.
And he made the comment yesterday or the day before yesterday that, hey, the civilian casualties, look, you guys are making too much of this. In World War II, you killed all these Japanese civilians and didn't think a thing of it. You were dropping bombs on civilians. So, we're just doing what you did. Now, what he said was true, that the United States has had, unfortunately, since World War II, historically a record of dropping bombs on civilians. And as J.D. Vance chided Israel for, or actually it was Trump who chided Israel, saying, you drop a bomb on an entire apartment building, killing all these people when you're just going after one guy. You should be going after the one guy, not all the people. All the people in the building. You're thinking, gee, I now agree with Donald Trump. What is sort of unique, or let's call it characteristic of the United States, going back to World War II, both in Europe and in Asia, we routinely bombed civilians and killed civilians. The Soviets did not. And the Russians, to this day, do not. They shied away from civilian casualty. They try to minimize them at least. Whereas the United States and Israel both have a historic record of wanton killing of civilians. And we excuse it for, they shouldn't have been hiding amongst terrorists or whatever. So, that's what concerns me now with, you're seeing the rhetoric again from Donald Trump about, he basically said, he used the expression, we're going to bomb the shit out of you again today. Yeah, not the language of diplomacy, that's for sure.
That's for sure. Is it possible? I want to ask a quick question.
Yeah, go.
I want to ask just one question, Larry, because I think it's important. Today, we heard President Putin's advisor and aide, Ushakov, say that basically what was agreed upon in Anchorage is no longer in force. The third party, which is the U.S., never upheld its side of the bargain and never seemed committed to a peace agreement. Therefore, everything will be achieved on the battlefield. Victory will be achieved on the battlefield. What do you make of that? That Ushakov is saying that now?
I'm trying to see. So that was last August. So it only took them 10 months to figure that out. They should have known from the outset that Donald Trump wasn't to be trusted. It's turning up a similar theme with Iran. Now, the United States has always mistaken Russian patience for weakness. And now I think they're going to find out that that was a mistake. Because, we're caught up talking about the war between Iran, Israel, and the United States. But there's been a lot going on with Russia, particularly on the ground, making significant advances. They're now, Konstantinovka was taken. They're closing in on Krasny Liman and Kramatorsk. So they very well could have Donbass freed, say by the end of August, which would be remarkable. But they're also Russia's also stepping up the bombing. So you've got this increased military campaign in Ukraine. You've got the military campaign on hold right now with respect to Iran. But from the sounds of it today, Trump is agitating to restart it. The difference is when you question what is the actual ability of the United States to start it and sustain it. And that's where I say the problem arises. It's going to be fuel.
Yeah, of course. The fuel's the key here. And I think that everybody now realizes that the knock-on effects from the Strait of Hormuz's closure had to take time to really set in. And we're getting to that window of time where we're going to begin to see them in a real sense. And that's what you were saying earlier about strategic reserves as well.
Yeah, in fact, let me read to you what the situation on the ground is. This is from my buddy, the energy consultant. The United Arab Emirates expanded facilities to 4.5 million barrels of crude per day before the war. They were clearly colluding with the Zionist regime to be an alternative supplier, along with the pipe dream trade route that they were planning. Iran strategically targeted their port in Fujairah to ensure that they had no export routes outside of the Gulf. Right now, all of their production is shut in. They have no income. They have no income coming in, and there's tremendous pressure on the UAE. Bahrain was mostly refining capacity prior to the war, and that's been heavily damaged. It's not operational at this point. Kuwait is shut in. We're having a hard time assessing how much Iraqi crude is getting out, if any. It would be transshipped from Iran via Basra. Nobody's advertising. That's all off the books. Saudi Arabia is exporting as much as they can from the Red Sea port, but that's limited capacity. So the short answer about Gulf oil production is it's not much right now. It's negligible. It's not going to increase anytime soon. So you can see why the U.S. position is such a critical problem. They can't trade the way out of the distillate problem. That means diesel and jet fuel. This is a bigger macroeconomic issue, but U.S. energy producers were essentially directed and encouraged and bribed to build ridiculously large new LNG export facilities on the Gulf Coast to feed the required petrodollar machine to support U.S. debt. So in other words, it's not there's significant problems on the horizon now with respect to the oil, LNG, sulfur, urea, and helium. Forgot the helium. So the helium is that Ras Laffan gas field in Qatar is a critical resource. The helium, when you pump out the LNG, you get helium as well. That has to be processed separately. So it is, and the helium, if you just saw the Apple CEO announce the iPhones are going to cost more. The MacBook Pros are going to cost more. Why? Because the chip prices have gone up. Why the chip prices gone up? Well, because they make chips with helium, and there's less helium, so there's less chips, which mean fewer chips, higher price. So this is all sort of hanging together. And let me throw out one other interesting tidbit. We learned yesterday that every week the uncle of Volodymyr Zelensky is traveling from Kyiv to Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, carrying big bags of cash that come from U.S. taxpayers. So the money that we've been sending to Kyiv winds up in his uncle's satchels. He takes them to Dubai, United Arab Emirates, deposits them in Emirati banks, a whole variety of banks. The money is then used to buy. They call it it's a pyramid scheme with condos, and then the proceeds from that, whoever's selling the fake condos, they then take the money and wire it to Israel. And then Israel turns around and wires some of that money to the people like members of Congress, like Lindsey Graham, Chuck Schumer. That's how this cycle works.
Larry, as always, you are a wealth of knowledge. The crowd here is loving you, as always. And I see that you have a new Hawaiian shirt, but it's an army-themed Hawaiian shirt.
One of my West Point buddies gave it to me, so I figured, we're talking war today. I'll wear the war shirt.
Now you know that between Sarah, of course, Navy, and I'm Army, so we got those Army-Navy games. I'm sorry.
There you go.
On the Army side, Sarah.
I saw that Pepe is putting you to work. Is he paying you for that, or is he just making you do that?
What, on our new transition protocol?
Your new show. Tell us about it. Tell the people about it. It's so awesome.
Yeah. So we got approached by this Pakistani American gentleman, Zulfikar Ali, and he said, "Hey, let's do this," because he's well connected back in Pakistan, and so he was providing information to us. And we were taking it and vetting it through other channels, and it turned out, the information was true. So we're getting the Pakistani view on what's going on. And if you watched what was happening today in Switzerland or not happening, you got the Pakistani Prime Minister Sharif standing there, looking around, sort of dazed. He's the one that is standing in the middle of all this, trying to bring the United States and Iran together, with not having a lot of success with the United States, but he keeps trying. And then Asim Munir, the head of the army, he's there as well. So the Pakistanis came to play, and then the Qatari, I think it was the foreign minister we saw, the one not shaking Vance's hand. So the gang's all there. Pakistan has been fully invested in promoting this peace deal, and they've made assurances, security guarantees to Iran that the United States may not like, but too bad, it's Pakistan's to give. I know some people see Pakistan as another tool of the United States, but there actually is pushback against the United States right now, and so that's why Trump and his entourage, though, are they're talking to the Pakistanis, and the Sharif has been one of the intermediaries with Pezeshkian, the president.
Do you think the talks are still suspended right now? If you could guess, do you think that they will go on this weekend, or will continue, or they'll be completely canceled?
Well, here we are on Sunday. I think they'll give it another shot in the morning, but Iran's pretty firm. Trump's got to apologize. So if Trump apologizes, they'll go on. If he doesn't, they're going to walk.
He won't apologize. I don't know that he's ever apologized. Has he ever? I can't remember him ever apologizing.
or he'll come out with some conciliatory language, you know, to try to make up. But man, he was, like you said, he was on a rampage today.
Correct. Which is
Yeah,
why
I woke up. I was like, oh God, there go
Yeah.
the talks. Larry's at class. Hopefully he can
Yeah.
see what's going on. And then they walked out and I said, oh God. Oh God. But you know, there has to be consequences. The United States is in this weird place where they're like, you can just say things. You could say whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Just focus on what you do. And the rest of the world isn't really like that. They're like, you can't continuously just say things. It doesn't work like that. You know, Russians will say words are wind, but that only holds for so long until they're like, you don't keep your word ever.
Yeah.
Now you have the Iranians that are like, you have to give us an apology. That's never going to happen. So we'll see where we're at. It seems like stalemates all around.
Well, and Trump remains very thin-skinned. He released a truth just before we came on air today. He said the headline in the corrupt and failing New York Times: "What changed after almost 4 months of war?" Analysts say not much. Trump goes, "Really? Their military is done, their Navy gone, their Air Force is gone, their launching pads, missiles, drones, manufacturing of same is almost gone. The top two sets of leaders are gone. Their inflation is at 250%. Their economy is broken. Their soldiers aren't being paid." You know, it's just one lie after another. But the problem is he really believes the lies he's telling himself.
Yeah.
Well, then
That's
we're
right.
screwed. The outlook
Yeah.
is very bleak. Well, Larry, I want to thank you for coming on. It's always a pleasure. Thank you for coming on right after a long Sunday of teaching people that
Yes,
lessons,
thank you.
that important lessons, very
Yeah,
important.
training guys and gals who are going to supervise shooting activities so they keep people safe and nobody gets shot.
We love
Very
that.
good. Very important work. And thank you as always, Larry, for joining us. Hope to see you soon in person.
Oh, wait, really quick. Do you think Iran has a nuke yet? Ted Postal and Colonel Wilkerson both say yes.
I can see why they would. They certainly have the technical ability to do it, the engineering ability to do it. You can certainly argue that they have ample reason now to do it, just saying by not having a nuke, we keep getting attacked. But I think the religious prohibition has been strong. But what our Pakistani source just told us a couple of days ago, again, through the Z-Man, that that Iran is going to, if the United States does not abide by the agreement, it doesn't get Israel to stop, Iran is going to send a message that the world will not forget. So, and by that I mean they're not going to attack Israel with nukes, but they'll demonstrate, okay, we got one. Once they do that, the world has changed.
I can't think of a better place to end on. Thank you, Larry. Guys, make sure you go to sonar21.com and check out Larry's new show with none other than Pepe Escobar, Panama Larry and Pepe Escobar.
Yeah. Well, let me just one quick question for Chris. So have you resolved the violation of your rights by the U.S. government?
Not yet. I have a phone call a little bit later with a lawyer. I'm starting to look for different lawyers and people to do FOIAs and things like that. But it came as such a shock to me, especially.
Yeah. Can you like walk across the border to get into Mexico?
No.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a violation of your rights.
For sure. And that's why we sent a FOIA, and I also went on the website of the Department of Homeland Security to do a traveler redress. They have these numbers, and then I opened the case. But it did say in the fine print, because I studied the law, so I looked at the fine print. It did say in cases of national security or where the interests of secrecy are necessary, they don't have to tell you.
Yeah. So that's just a ridiculous excuse for an authoritarian government to do what it does.
Of course,
so, any way we can help, let us know.
Thank you so much, Larry. As always, I appreciate it.
Try to enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll
right.
see what tomorrow brings.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Another banger. Thank you guys all for sticking it out. I know we started to bore you around the halfway point.
What's boring?
I
There's
know
no
on
boring
side
here.
for Iran. Cheers. Yep, they ended in a draw. And you want to know what? Iran would be winning this whole entire thing if they were not torturing those four beautiful men. My God, they're crushing it. They are playing
By the way,
so well.
They're at the top of the group.
Yep, they're playing so well.
They're number one. Do nothing and win. But they're doing a lot.
I'm so glad you know what types of algae. I thought I was the only algae nerd. I was like, we're out here arguing over spirulina. And everybody was like, what are you saying? I was like, it's a type of algae.
Yeah, what?
But go look at the pool. It's crazy. They're even selling pieces of it. They're taking pieces off and selling it because it's blowing. Like it's blowing across people's lawns and stuff. So that's going up on eBay.
Oh my God.
I want a piece. It's actually kind of cool looking. Congratulations on 50K. The world would be a better place if there were millions. There will be millions of us soon. It's growing so fast now. It's like almost making me a little nervous, but alhamdulillah, we are doing so well. Thank you all. And it's all because of you guys mostly. You guys have really stuck it out through the last 2 years and all of the 4 years for some of you and all of the insanity. I heard Iran only put I'll find out. And you also asked this about no, it will take longer. They've even said that it will take longer than 2 months themselves. I don't know that they had that all of the mines are remote disableable. I don't even know if that's a word. If you can remote disable them, we'll just make them up. I asked your question for you, Mikey. I also asked it, guys, if you didn't see the episodes with Colonel Wilkerson and John Kiriakou, they're both still pertinent to what's going on because it seems like nothing ever changes. They all just keep saying new things. And also, once again, before we go, please, 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 guys, make sure you have liked, shared, and subscribed to the channel here on YouTube. And if you're watching on X, please repost the stream. This was an important one. And also, I think it was kind of funny of the reflecting pool. Visit the website, get some merch. We have so much merch, all kinds of merch, Iranian merch, Russian, even Trump's up there. There's G merch, free shipping, no taxes, no tariffs. What have you got coming up, Chris?
We got a big trip coming up. Actually, we got 2 big trips coming up, and we'll keep you informed on that. And tomorrow, I'm speaking at the OSCE with our friend of the show, Dmitry Polyansky. I'll be speaking about the dangers of militarization in Europe, the rearmament of Germany, and the prospects of a third world war on the European continent. So I'll be speaking about that, as well as I have a studio interview at First Channel, which is the flagship channel of Russia. So I got that tomorrow, and things are going well. Things are going well. We're moving
to the moon. To the moon. Can you get a hoodie that has? Yeah, I can make you a hoodie that has the Iran flag on it. Sure.
Absolutely.
Anything else from the chat? Do you guys need anything else? You guys getting enough sleep? You guys got everything you need? Just want to make sure you guys are good.
Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
All the daddies, the zaddies, and the fathers.
As all my kids said, Happy Baba's Day, because I'm
Happy
Baba.
Baba's Day.
And my daughter, of course, adds the B part, so she's Bababi. Bababi. Happy Father's Day, Bababi.
How cute. Happy Father's Day to all of you guys. We'll be back on Wednesday with Scott Horton, and huge surprise, we are now going to 3 streams a week. See, I think I got tricked, okay? Because I check the community. If you guys notice that your comments are being replied to on the YouTube, that's me usually. So, just so you know. And the producer says people are asking for 3 shows a week. We should do it. So we discussed it. We said, sure, we'll do it. I have only found 1 comment asking for 3 shows a week. So I think the producer lied. But regardless, we're still going to give you guys 3 shows. So we will be, after this week on Wednesday with Scott, we will be back on Sunday again. And then we will be switching to Tuesday and Thursday and Sunday. So you'll get us 3 times a week, a trinity, a hat trick, if you will.
Wow, very nice. Very nice. Three's good. Three's good.
Three's company too. You guys enjoy the rest of your week. we'll let you go. With Chris doing the quagmire. Guys, have a good weekend. We love all of you. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday and happy Father's Day. We'll see you on Wednesday with Scott Horton.
That's it.